Alright, everybody, just shut up! I'm sorry, I just feel very passionate about Aptera, and I love everything they're kind of doing right now, so I can't help but get a little bit passionate about the fact that they are not sitting still, even though there's a lot of stages to bringing a vehicle into production, okay? No, they're not able to do it as quickly as any of us like, but let me reiterate that they want these vehicles out like nobody else does. Yes, there's people who are waiting on their car who put down deposits. I'm one of them. Yes, there's people who've invested in it, but there's no one that's invested as much time, manual labor, and energy into this brand, into this product, and know every little bolt and wire that goes into it than the people who are actually building the thing. Of course, these guys want the vehicle to be delivered, and yet so many people got so upset when they just announced that they're going to be licensing out their solar IP to other brands out there, like Polydrop and even airport shuttling vehicles. You know, those little cars that you see on the tarmac, moving around luggage, sometimes even moving around planes and stuff like that. There's companies that are using these lower powered electric vehicles that are genuinely interested in licensing Aptera's own technology, and yet a lot of the community's backlash was instantly just like, oh, well, this is a distraction, this is a waste of time, why are you putting solar on other people's products when you should just be delivering the auto cycle, which, oh god, do I have to spell this out for everybody? Okay, just like Chris Anthony said in his last interview on this channel, there's a lot of work that goes into the development of a vehicle, but the solar aspect is done, okay? I straight up asked him this. I said, how much faster could you get this vehicle to market if you just delivered it without the solar panels? And Chris straight up told us the truth, which is that the solar part of the lamination process is done. They're already cranking out production intent solar panels, which are made of this really strong, really durable glass. I've held it myself. I've done durability testing on it myself as well, where you drop these really heavy objects on it and you can tell that it doesn't fracture, but even under extreme circumstances, if the solar cells do fracture, the entire panel can still keep collecting energy. They tried to make them cost-effective and repairable. These are really cool automotive-grade solar panels out there, and because Aptera is working on multiple things all at once, even though they're a fairly small company, you know, there's a lot of processes when it comes into the mass production of the chassis, the suspension, the powertrain, the interior components, and all that. All of these things take time, and a lot of them, of course, you're outsourcing because you're a smaller startup, so you can't do everything in-house. But to utilize the things that you've already developed, like your solar panel technology, and say, this is valuable stuff, we want to provide this to other people out there so that we can start collecting revenue just from our solar tech in order to start breaking even faster, rather than just wait around twiddling our thumbs as we wait for supplier contracts to get negotiated, wait for parts to get shipped around and moved around. Basically, what I'm trying to say is licensing out their solar tech and making that available for other parties who want to implement passive trickle charging to their vehicles. And by the way, it's not just a matter of glass and solar cells, it's also the internal wiring so that you can take a low voltage system and use it to charge at a slow rate a higher voltage system. All that kind of intellectual property that Aptera has developed for their vehicle is potentially extremely valuable, and they could become a massive supplier for all kinds of different use cases. These are just the first two we're finding out about. I guarantee you there's probably a lot more that they're still negotiating with right now that they can't talk about yet, and those kinds of negotiations absolutely do not detract at all from the vehicle development, okay? So the fact that such a small company with limited resources is able to keep multiple irons in the fire simultaneously and looking for ways to bring value to the market, bring revenue to the brand, I think is fantastic. I just think it's a genius thing, and yet there's so many people just obsessed with this, well, that doesn't matter, you just need to deliver the product. You know who focused on delivering the product as fast as possible? Fisker. Lordstown, and let me know how it worked out for them, okay? Because you can absolutely 100% positively rush things to market before they are ready, and especially if you just insist on, well, doesn't matter, blow all of our money, blow all of our capital as quickly as we possibly can, just so that we can start delivering vehicles. As Sandy Monroe has said, that has literally killed companies, and we've seen it play out ourselves. There is some incentive to taking your time, guys. There is some rationale, there is some truth to the idea of being capital efficient, and sometimes that comes at the cost of your timelines. It's just not unheard of in the auto industry. Both legacy automakers, big companies like Tesla, and startups are well known for still missing their targets. Rivian, as a classic example, did not deliver their vehicles on time, and they didn't ramp up production as fast as we thought, but look at how they're turning out. They took their time, they had to shut down the assembly line for a while, iron out the kinks, figure out exactly how to make their vehicle more manufacturable and more profitable and simple, and now they're tracking towards profitability profitability at the end of this year, but how many vehicles do they have to deliver before they break even? Whereas Aptera, thanks to their much lower headcount, spending is much lower because they're outsourcing a lot more of the vehicle design. That means that your break even can be much sooner, and you don't have to sell at extremely high volume. You don't have to burn billions and billions of dollars a quarter like earlier startups have, and there's other brands like Lucid where it's like, profitability, do we really care about that kind of thing? Do we need to worry about profitability? I don't know. We'll just hope a government bails us out, essentially. Instead, no, let's just take our time, focus on bringing the vehicle into production as cost effectively as possible, which yes, sometimes does involve a wait, and I'm just as eager as anybody to take delivery of my Aptera. I could really use it these days with all the extra commuting, but bringing in revenue from intellectual property that is ready to go, like their solar technology, is absolutely a genius move and should be applauded, and yet so many people are looking at it as an opportunity to dog on them for not hitting their timelines, which I'm just like, guys, come on, get real for a second here. Anywho, do y'all disagree with me for some reason? I'm sure we'll have a very pleasant and friendly discussion down in the comments below, right, guys? And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. It seriously helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.